Hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? All right, I'm back on here. It is September. It's been about a month since I've gone live. But you know what? I said I would go live, not on a cyclical basis, but as often as I could. And so I find that this flow has allowed me to have a little more flexibility. But, anyways, whether you catch this live or you catch the recording later, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about some things. Some things that have been on my mind, and it's about magic, right? I see, first and foremost, I want to know, where are my real people at? Where are the real ones at? Where are my real wizards at? Okay, where are you? Because we have a lot of people out here in this world acting like they're a wizard, they're a shaman, they're this, they're that, and they're hiding behind these tools, right? Now, there is huge power behind your tools. This whole channel, if you don't know by now, is truly about magic. It's about natural magic. It's about practical magic. It's about utilizing your natural resources and making it work for you. And part of my mission in this channel is to explain how to use your tools and how to allow them to work for you. So, for those of you who don't know me already, my name is Nina Simone. I am the creator of this channel of Crystal Sun Healing. And so, I just wanted to talk about something that's deeply present, that's been sitting on my chest for me for a while, and maybe for you. It's about magic. Not just any magic, but like real magic, okay? Not the kind that you read about in books and then you go home and nothing ever happens. I'm talking about the essence of magic. And also the explosion of more magic that has become available to us for those who work with different power tools, for example, like plant medicine, right? When you're working with another live object, it's going to lend more power. But unfortunately, there aren't that many people that have access to these things that are actually teachers, healers, protectors, or all these things. They may not even have you don't have the right intentions. You may never even know what their intention is. But that's not the whole purpose of this live, right? I just wanted to know, are you working for your magic, or is your magic working for you? Like, because I was developing my magic, and this is part of my story because some of you have expressed you wanted to hear the beginning of my story. Um, I was working on my craft, doing a lot of things, and I met the ultimate boss, the ultimate opponent that worked against me. And long story short, I noticed one by one I was losing the things that I felt were empowering me. Okay. And you know what? I thank them. I thank them a lot because it has taught me, it has reminded me that I was relying maybe a little too much on my tools. It's just like, how many of you have gone out and then you're like, oh crap, I forgot my crystal. It's the end of the world. No, it's not the end of the world, okay? Crystals are useful. They're very, very useful, and they're amazing once you figure out how to use them. But if you're out in nature and you don't have a crystal, you can use a leaf, you can use a tree, you can use another element of nature. You know this, right? And if at the end of the day, you got your two hands, you got you. So when I started getting stripped of all these things and I kept encountering adversity after adversity after adversity, I totally stepped back and I was like, hold on, let me see what's going on here. Maybe there's something happening here that I just can't see. And so in that pause, I learned a lot. I learned I was guilty of relying too much on my own external tools. I was guilty of maybe relying too much on my plant medicine power tools, my plant allies. And they are great allies. I If you truly build an ally with them, you don't have to consume them to actually be in contact with them. Most people don't know that. But that is part of the magic. So it brought me back to the basics. It brought me back to myself. It brought me back to the most powerful magic that we carry in our body. And as they say in yoga, it begins with your breath, your being, blah, 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 blah. For me, I took a step back from facilitating as many ceremonial circles as I did because I needed to recharge my circuits. And then it brought me to another place where I realized that, okay, I'm having to pause, restart, recharge, do all these things. And then I realized it's not sustainable long term to move all this energy and to do all this work unless I'm getting to a place in, I don't even know. So I stepped back and I kept asking the question why. And it brought me to a space of helping people to develop their own personal magic. It brought me to a place to allow me to see the greater picture of what was happening in the realm of all this ceremonial magic and this and crystals and that. And it's just like people think just because you step into a spiritual practice, for example, um, that it's this wonderful place of light and love, and oh ho ho, you're met with a whole new realm of stuff that you have to learn. And so it brings us back to, what do you do when you don't have all the things that you used to have? What do you do when you don't have your normal tools? I've gone to ceremony and I forgot some of my quote unquote critical tools. And guess what? We still had ceremony and everybody still had a great experience. Um, and it showed me that the magic isn't in the tools, it's in me. Okay. The magic is in you. The magic is literally all around us, and magic is unlimited. Okay. So when I talk about this topic, about not relying too much on your tools and working on really your own self development. Listen, I've walked with the plants, I've sung with them, I've sat in circle, I've held ceremony. I even lived in the Amazon jungle for months at a time, okay? I have done lots of different experiences that maybe perhaps your average person has not had, right? But one thing that I did learn at the end of the day, that tools can become like, they can become crutches if you don't check yourself, if you don't um constantly remind yourself and remember that you are the magic. Okay, the magic comes from us into the tools. You're only, if you're only as great as your tool, then you're not really much of a magician. I hate to say it, it's just like it's just a reality, it's a fact. So let's be clear, I'm not demonizing the plants. Okay, all of the plants, all of the crystals, they have their place. Okay, and their spirit is very real. And like I said, you get to a point of working with these things where you don't have to consume them to contact them. Okay. And so what ends up happening is when we find these new tools or new toys or new experiences, if we're not careful, we can outsource our own power. Okay. If we outsource our power, then something can come and cut that source and cut that power. And that's exactly what happened to me. Sorry if it's a little long-winded for me to get into this story, but I just feel it's necessary to talk about some of these things so that you can understand. So, as something tried to cut my source to what I was calling my power, because I was outsourcing my power, they thought that it was going to stop me. Little did they know that all it did was make me smarter, wiser, and totally empower me, because I had to go back into my cave of development and learn these things all over again and reconnect to my sense of self and realize that I am the power, that I am the power that's connected to source power, and you are the power that's connected to source power. But we live in a world with so much illusion, distraction, deflection, and so much other things that how can you possibly see yourself? How can you possibly, even when we look into our phones, it has a filter on it. There's something that does not want us to truly see ourselves. So when we work with these things and the universe decides it's time to um, teach us another lesson, we lose access to many things until we find ourselves. And if you're just coming into the chat, please say hi. Please say hello. Don't be a stranger. So, back to these tools. When we step away from our tools, or we lose access to our tools, or our tools break, right? And we have to surrender them. What do we do next? What did I do next? I went into my cave of development and I came back and I was like, well, if I have nothing, what can I do? And Spirit's response was, you always have something. You always have something. You have yourself, you have your intuition, you have your ancestors, you have so many things available to you. You have the elements, unlimited source of elements all around you. And then when you learn how to work with the elements, you learn that the elements combine into other elements, which leads to the planets, which leads to the stars, which leads to so many other things, and so on and so forth, right? So when we really tune in and tap into our own inner magic, our high magic, it becomes high magic, it becomes practical magic. And this is what gives us sovereignty. Okay, we live in a world that does not want us to be sovereign. Okay, because the most powerful people are sovereign. This is a term that you may hear thrown around a lot in many different circles in many different ways, and there's a reason for that, because sovereign people are the most powerful people. They even talked about this in the movie The Matrix, like the last city. I believe it was called Zion, right? Those were all sovereign individuals. And so, whenever we are a part of a huge group mind thinking thing, and they tell us to do this and they tell us to do that, and we go with it, you are not sovereign. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say on that. So, but the good news is you can reclaim your sovereignty. Okay, if you have accidentally given it up, if you have unconsciously given it away, you can absolutely reclaim your sovereignty. When you lose source, when you lose connection to your outsourcing, you can reconnect and be reconnected to source. Okay, they tell you some things are forever. Nothing is forever. Okay, nothing is forever. And so the daily magic that doesn't require anything except your will, your clarity, and your spirit connection, that is your true high and practical sovereign magic. It's accessible to everyone. Okay, you don't need a ceremony, you don't need a candle, you don't need a crystal, you don't need a plant, you don't need a psychedelic, you don't need a special tea. All you need is just you, your discernment, and your intention. It's amazing what you can do with just your two hands, your voice, and your breath. Okay, ask your ancestors how they did it a long time ago, before we had technology, right? Certain types of technology. All right, so we have breath work, we have all kinds of somatic movement things, we have journaling things, we have basic everyday routines that we don't even realize are rituals, that are all part of our practical magic. When we fall out of our rhythm, the first question is, when did you stop doing your rituals? Okay, so let's say you're ready to move on and start playing with other tools. Let's talk about protection and discernment as a sovereign citizen, as a sovereign being. Okay, when you're stepping into a realm where you are dealing with things you don't know anything about, you have to protect yourself. That includes the digital space, the physical space. When you leave your house, step out and go to the grocery store, like there is a level of protection you have to wear. Whether it's putting clothes on your body, whether it's using an umbrella because it's raining, or stepping onto a spiritual path. Yay! Working with plant medicine. Yay! And so for those of you who are wanting to have some sort of awakening because you think that this tool or this plant or this person can give it to you, it's important for you to know, as a sovereign person, that the medicine path can also be hijacked, usually by ego. by avoidance or worse, or some type of energetic parasitism in the name of healing. Okay. And they'll tell you, oh, I'm healing you, while they're taking from you. Okay. So you have to develop what's called discernment. You need to know when something is expanding you or when it's keeping you in a loop. You ever have those friends that are just like, yeah, 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 let's do it, but they'll never actually do anything with you that's actually going to allow you to advance? Have you ever encountered a teacher that's like, yeah, 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 let's do this and da da da, but they never actually give you the keys that can allow you to be sovereign in advance? You have to go through some type of hierarchy. Yeah, that's there. You're being kept in a loop, okay, and you're being used so that you don't become sovereign and develop your own magic, because people who are unconscious and still operating from their place of ego, they don't want that, okay? Because it means they have to face their own stuff and they're not ready to face their own stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the magic that I'm drawn to right now in this current phase, okay? Those of you who know me locally know that I haven't been hosting as many physical gatherings as I used to. I used to do it like twice a month, at least once a month, all the time for many, many years. And then I took a pause so that I could recalibrate and come back with something bigger, better. And here we are. And so I am here to share with you. It's a magic that's beyond time, beyond ceremony schedules. You don't have to align with the right moon phase, or you can. Um, and it's so close to you. You can touch it, you can taste it, you can feel it. But the question is, are you ready? Are you actually ready? Or are you still waiting for someone to spoon feed you? The universe helps those who only choose to help themselves first. When you choose to help yourself, then you will be helped. The help will come, right? So it's important to know that I'm not against tools. Tools are wonderful. I am not against medicine. I am all about the medicine. I'm all about the plant medicine. I am also about pro empowerment and pro you and sovereignty, okay? So I'm also here to remind you, if you feel like you can't do something, it's because you felt like you didn't have the right tool. It's not about that. It's about the intention. Why? Because you are the magic, you are the spell, you are the ritual, okay? This is why when you get invited somewhere, they're just like, oh, no, 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 just come, because you are the gift. You are already walking with this magic. And so my hopes and role in all of this that I'm sharing here with you today is to share a reminder that you are the magic. And sometimes you just need a little guidance, you need a little nudge to cultivate and to grow this magic, okay? If this little raw talk that I shared with you spoke to you in any way, please leave a comment, share it out, let me know how you're feeling. This space is for you. I'm cultivating a space so that you can reclaim your magic in all the ways without all the props. Because, like I said earlier, I have been faced with so many barriers and adversities to people that were very, 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 very close to me, that for some reason felt threatened by what I was doing in some way, shape, or form, which I'm not even taking it as personal. Maybe I was shining a light on some of their shadows that they were not ready to see. But long story short, they blocked me, and they came at me in such a way to chop my feet, then chop my legs, then and keep me going. But guess what? I'm still here. And I've come back with even more tools. It's like you've got the right frequency. If you found me, it's because we're on the similar or complementary or the same frequency. And I'm here to help you amplify this, okay? So, all in all, just to say, if you want to go to the next level, you want to learn more, I have a Substack. I have this YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram. My website is posted below. I am also opening up my mentorship academy once again. Opens up twice a year, and it's an application process. It's only for those who are ready, not for people who want to dip their toe in. I'm talking about people who are ready to create actual change in their life, people who are actually ready to stop being the victim and to actually empower themselves. And for people who actually want to learn how to create magic out of thin air, it seems. So, long story short, you know where to find me. The details of how to connect are listed below. So, please reach out. Let me know how you feel. It's great to see each and every one of you, and I will talk to you soon. And peace.